How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Grab a drink. Welcome back. It is the Zoo Sunday Night Live on the Prepared Mind channel, the Prepared Mind Networks. Here it is. I'm going to finish off my cup of coffee from cafefe.com. That's right, the official coffee sponsor of the Prepared Mind channel. And we're good ski, folks. Welcome back. We're going to talk about everything under the sun, under the moon, everything SHTF and SHTF related. It is Sunday Night Live, and it is your show. If you're on YouTube, X, the other YouTube channel, subscribestar.com, Facebook, or our flagship preparedmind.club channel. We're doing everything we can to keep it live, keep it real, and keep it going, because we are about to enter a new phase, in my opinion, of censorship, of political threats, of financial threats, all manner of just shut up, let Washington, D.C. do what it do, and you don't have anything to say about it. Stupid Americans. It's coming, folks. Oh, I've got the article. In fact, I'll get to it here pretty quick. But if you've got something to talk about, comment section below. If you're on X, click on the video a couple of times. It should pop up a comment box. But it's a difficult game to play with respect to moderation. Who the moderator of the channel is. That's Uman in the background working his ass off. So we're going to start the show off. And one last item, any super chat donation, I should say every super chat donation, helps keep the lights on in the studio, keeps spam, tuna fish, and of course scotch rolling. But in this case, $50 or more super chat also buys a scotch. And to start the show off, we've got Darcy T checking in. She's here every week along with, well, Big Dan the Man. Let's see, Blue Cord Devil, Cottage Farm, Robin, Chin Music, Mini Crickets. There's a lot of you guys out there. Anyways, we're starting with Darcy T, and here we go. One shot, one kill. And we're off. This one comes, this one kill shot is coming from, of all places, Ireland. So Darcy T says, hey, nothing specific, it's just some dough for the coffers. That's what she writes. But we have some more news out of Ireland, right? So this is what we got, folks. A distressed parent contacted me, and this would be Darcy T, shared screenshots showing her child being taught about Islam in Ireland. This is absolutely shocking. It makes me so angry. I will do everything I can to oppose this and raise awareness. Darcy T is in the great Republic of Texas, and Texas is under Islamic attack. Now, Darcy says, what is taught in these schools? Well, of course, the 5 pillars of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad's teachings, information on mosques, Ramadan, and so much more. Just a few days ago, the Supreme Court ruled that teaching Christianity is unlawful and discriminatory in schools in Ireland. But, go ahead and teach about Muslim and Islam all you want. Now, this letter was written. It says, it was no surprise to me that they're trying to build a mega mosque in Letterkenny County, Donegal. That's in Ireland. I'm doing everything I can to oppose this. This cannot be allowed to happen. Yet, my friends, this is happening. It's happening in Ireland, in England, in Scotland. It's happening throughout Europe. It's happening now in the United States of America. In fact, I've got something that is shocking. In Florida, a couple of Florida men are facing hate crime charges, felony hate crime charges at the University of Southern Florida. For what? What hate crime did they commit? Well, some Muslim students were praying and they felt like they were disrupted. Now, to describe the Florida men, apparently they had bacon. They were in a parking garage or at a parking garage with bacon, and they decided they would wave the bacon at the Muslims who were praying out in public. But these guys have now been arrested. And some giant piece of shit Muslim jumped onto social media and actually pretended like he was crying. This sympathy victim mentality horseshit is the same crap we get out of all Muslims. It's the same crap we get out of Israel. Anytime you say something against Israel, you're an anti-Semite. Really? Right? If you deny the Holocaust, you're an anti-Semite. Yet Israel and every Israeli denies that they have committed a genocidal Holocaust against the Palestinians. But if you say that, you're an anti-Semite. You can't win. We can't win, folks, whether it's Israel or the Muslims. That is what we're facing here in America and the rest of the world, right? Muslims in America can wake up America at 5 a.m. with their satanic call to prayer. They can harass and stalk underage girls and women. They can threaten us all on social media with loss of rights, loss of privacy, loss of property, loss of your life. They can spread that all over social media. And my prediction is this is going to reach a boiling point. It's going to reach a boiling point and it's going to boil over. Right? I know that this Jake Lang guy is a little bit suspicious up in Dearborn, Michigan, or wherever the hell it is, Hamtramck, Michigan, whatever it is. Right? There's problems up there with all of these people, these foreigners bringing their foreign belief systems in here. Any religion that's out of the Middle East is just garbage as far as I'm concerned, because all they want to do is fight each other and fight everyone else and take over. It is going to get nasty. They're now calling on bikers to show up. And I hope and I pray that these bikers know what they're getting into, know what they're falling into, and don't get caught up in someone else's trap. That's where we're at, folks. What do you want to talk about? It's your show. It is Sunday Night Live. This is the Zoo. And like I said, we've got YouTube, thepreparedmind.club, subscribestar.com. We've got X, people live here on X. And of course, we got Facebook as well. It is your show. Comments down below, super chat up here if you want to get on the screen. So let's talk about your topics. What is on your mind? Mr. Uman's going to pick. He's in charge. And we're going to have a good one here. Big Dan the Man kicks it off with a $2 super chat. And he says, Comrade Dan checking in from Seattle. Why would he? High and tight, just right. Thank you. Flat top. I know. It's a little bit, exotic haircut, but yeah, it is high and it is tight. Anyways, back to Big Dan the Man. Comrade Dan checking in from Seattle. Yeah, Seattle. They've elected a freaking stinking filthy communist, just like New York City elected a communist Muslim who also likes to hang out with Israelis and wear their little cute hat on the back of his head. I don't trust any of these people because every one of these concepts in these large cities is un-American, whether it has to do with their cultures and our traditions or our laws and belief systems, our basic morality. If it's not American, folks, it is bad for America. Literally, right? If the rest of the world said, you know what, America is the place we want to be. It is wealthy. It is safe. It is prosperous. Then they would adopt our laws, wouldn't they? They would adopt our culture, wouldn't they? But you look at the rest of the world, and it is an absolute fucking stinking shithole. So why would we want to bring people from those countries with their cultures over to our country? You know what it's doing? It's turning America into an absolute stinking shithole. Communist in New York. Muslim in New York. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northern Michigan. It's covered in jihadis. They're not Americans. They don't have American values. All they know how to do is play a victim in media and then use weak-ass politicians that they can buy off with a fucking $20 bill and screw people over. And what really pisses me off is they've now done it in Florida. It's a hate crime to wave a piece of bacon. Where's the hate? Where's the crime? Where's the damaged party? There is no mala in C. All it is horse shit. Someone's feelings were hurt. Oh, my goat fucking vagina's hurt. I'm sick of these fucking people. They're nowhere near me right now. But yeah, Comrade Dan, they've got a brand new communist mayor coming for Seattle. And I know, Dan, you're not right in Seattle, so at least you're that safe. But being in the great Northwest, it is no, I mean, you think about it. I grew up in California. I lived in California. And I used to think that was the great Northwest. And no, but I'd look north on the map and look north literally. And Oregon, Washington were like these wild giant forests. And no, they've got cities that are packed with millions of people living in these with this blue city mentality. They're absolute shit. And they've just destroyed the Northwest. They've destroyed California with this socialist, communist crap. There's going to have to come a change. And we can accept it and become the minority that gets raped, murdered, burnt, and stolen from. Oh, and thrown in prison. Or we can fight back. And that fight, my friends, is going to become physical. In my opinion, that's what I think. I'm not calling for violence, but I expect it to come and find us. And by golly, I am prepared to deal with this shit head on. Right, what else have I got left to do? There's not a whole lot. Got a couple of things on my bucket list. Just a couple of items. But if I were to go down swinging and fighting, all the same to me, fuck it. I've done everything. I've done everything that a man ought to want to do. Everything now is just all gravy. And protecting my sons, my family, my grandkids, my friends, my countrymen, my Constitution, and destroying the enemies of good, destroying the allies of evil. That's a good thing to live for. And that's what I'm living for, folks. And getting you prepared and sharing ideas and concepts with you. It's making my life have meaning. Giving me meaning. Because if, destroying evil doesn't give you meaning, well, fuck, nothing will. I mean, you want to talk about something that'll vulcanize you. I don't mean give you pointy ears, but, temper you. And I mean that in a good way. Like a tempered piece of iron, just strong and strong. Thank you, Big Dan the Man, for the great support. Mr. Uman, who do we want to toss up on the board next? Who do we got? We've got Nancy Keg checking in with her woohoo weekly $20 super chat donation. Thank you, Nancy. I hope you are well and safe in the Great White North. And she says, just going to enjoy listening tonight. Your topic and choice, Semper Fi to the Prepared Mind family. All right, let's dig into the articles. If I get to pick one here for Nancy. Oh, how about this one? This is one of my favorite things to do. Talk about Democrat presidential candidates who have destroyed themselves and ruined themselves. This one's for you, Nancy. The absolutely criminal Arizona Attorney General's top official was arrested by postal inspectors for controlling and trafficking stolen property. I know that's a lot of stuff going on. So the postal inspector, if someone's stealing mail, that's a federal offense. It's a felony. You cannot fuck with anyone's mail or parcels in the postal service. So postal inspectors, who are armed law enforcement, federal, have arrested the Arizona Attorney General's top official. Right? That's high-end stuff. Arizona is a fucked up state with the bitch Hobbs and fucking Mariposa County or Maricopa, whatever the hell that one was, where they can't do anything right. They can't hold an election. The fucking machines break all the time in the Republican areas. They have mail-in ballots, handwritten ballots with no fucking signatures. They count them all as long as they're Democrats. That's Arizona. Nevada's got his own fucking problems. California's a lost fucking cause. There are so many states that are absolutely crooked as fuck. And it's funny, every single time, the cheating is being done in Democrat districts, Democrat precincts, and through Democrat offices. Every fucking time. Unbelievable, disgusting, to say the least. Anyways, Nancy, there you go. There, my topic. These people are absolute scum. Everyone in office politically. I mean, it's not like I can look at the Republicans and go, those guys are so moral and good. They're so upstanding and bright. Oh, we've got more to talk about. I'll let you guys pick the subjects, though. As long as we're going to go on here for 2 hours. It is Sunday Night Live. Share the internet address. Whatever platform you're on, whether it's mobile, your television, or your computer, share the internet address for this video. Get people here live. If you want to do a super chat, you've got to be on youtube.com at The Prepared Mind. It has 4,900 subscribers. The Prepared Mind channel with nearly 80,000 subscribers is still unmonetized. In other words, they're continuing to punish theirs there. They open the channel back up, but they don't want to monetize it. Even though they'd say they'd have everything fixed and restored to old, they're fucking liars. Why is that? Because they need to silence us. They need to keep us quiet. Free speech be damned, right? But I'm sure they'll have commercials on there. I'm sure they will, so that YouTube makes money, but they don't want us to be supported. So thankfully, you guys are here. You support us directly with guerrilla funding, because this is guerrilla warfare 101 under not the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment. You know that thing about free speech? We're fighting the free speech war. People are losing and going to jail for free speech. People are being punished for free speech and losing their jobs, except for Democrats who were fired for making fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination, but now they're being rehired. I don't think anyone really realizes that outside of our communities, but that's what's happening. They waited for the dust to settle, all the anger to go away. Everyone's forgot even who the fuck Charlie Kirk is. And now they're rehiring these fucking losers in colleges, government jobs, schools. They hate us and they hate you. They hate America and they hate our Constitution. These people are absolute filth. And they're around each and every one of us, including me. Anywhere from 4 or 5 or 6 out of 10 people votes in these communists, these Muslims, these anti-American foreigners who have a goofy religion that says it's okay to kill us. They vote for pedophilia. They vote for genital mutilation and chemical castration of children. They vote for destroying our military. They vote for destroying our institutions. They vote to destroy your right to free speech because they know as long as they can silence us, they can say whatever the fuck they want. And it's just gonna get worse. And I am absolutely fucking disgusted with the state of Florida, whoever made that arrest, and I'm sure it was in a blue city county. Probably Miami-Dade or Broward or one of those fucked up places down south. But this, yeah, it was University of Southern Florida. There you go. There you go. You know, you can be out there going for hours at a fucking time. Wait till they do it in the streets. They're out on the sidewalks, then they're gonna get in the walking path, then they're gonna get in the streets. They're gonna fucking shut that, right? The same shit they're doing in New York fucking City. They're gonna try it. And at some point, folks, the fuse is going to be lit in a way that is going to shock the world. Shock it. And it's going to come. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's do it. Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We got, drum roll, please. Yeah, Uman says, look, but church bells are offensive and had to be stopped. Now, I grew up in logging country, Northern California. We lived at the 3,000-foot elevation. There was a cedar mill, which is California incense cedar. There was a pine mill, and then there was a fir mill, right? You got Douglas fir for building. You got pine for pine, right? We had these mills, and they had whistles. Whoop, whoop, right? Time to work. Whoop, all done. Whistles. Great. Fucking whistles. Even 20 years ago, when I moved my sons to a very rural place, because all those mills got shut down. They killed the timber industry. So I went to this other town, little town, and then they blew that whistle for the last fucking time because they had to shut down that last mill in extreme Northern California. But church bells. Love church bells Sunday morning. And you've got to live within just a couple of blocks of the church to hear them. Love it. Bells are bells. Actually, bells tend to, believe it or not, clear the mind. They were thought to scare away demons and evil. And guess who doesn't like church bells? Muslims. How about that? Right? Only Christian churches have bells. But, they're offensive, as Uman points out. But having some person on a loudspeaker that doesn't just go a couple of blocks, but will reach what seems to be miles of someone singing in a foreign language, in a foreign culture, about a foreign culture, destroying our traditions and overrunning us with them. That's fucking fine. But we better stop those bells. Now, the fucking Muslims are outside Christian churches, Catholics and Christians, and if there's any sort of space, like an entryway that's paved, cement, tiles, pavers, whatever, if there's room, they'll throw their mats down and they fucking start praying outside of Christian churches. So the churches are now fighting back and ringing their bells like a motherfucker at these people. Folks, it is a holy war. It's not about Jesus. It's a holy war about freedom and liberty. This is a holy war. It's about our cultures, our tradition, our country, and who we came from. These fucking foreigners, do you know what they're all claiming now? That they built America. That everything in America that's good, they brought here. They're fucking telling themselves those lies. And that this is their country and it's owed to them. Oh, yeah, they all believe it, folks. Every one of these Middle Eastern dumb motherfuckers believes this country belongs to them. That they're the blessed ones and we are the scourge. Americans who have been here for hundreds of years, creating what has become, well, what was once the freest country on earth. Okay, Mr. Uman, let's continue if we shall. Oh, we got Simon Wagstaff who says, well, Karl Marx, a fine communist piece of shit, who after writing his philosophy on politics down has caused the death of somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere between 250 and 400 million people have died under communism or as a consequence of communist aggression and violence. Karl Marx says religion is the opium of the masses. Well, what is opium? Opium is a drug that affects the mind and gives the mind a pleasurable experience. that has nothing to do with reality. So am I agreeing with Karl Marx that religion is the drug for the mind that makes it feel happy with the situation it's in that has nothing to do with reality? Well, yeah, sure. If you can believe something else and it takes your mind off of reality, and then you live this false reality, that's politics too, isn't it? That's politics. Because whatever your political or religious belief system is, it tells you everyone else is wrong, and therefore it justifies you taking violent actions. In America, folks, we lived in peace amongst each other. Pretty darn well, wouldn't you say? And now what do we have? That's right. We've got nothing but fucking trouble coming. Mr. Ooman, who's up next? What's the topic? And it is Robin G with a $50 super chat. Bam, donation. Thank you, Robin. I'm going to pour a scotch here because I think I'm ready. Oh, boy. Yep. We're 26 minutes into our 2-hour show. And a fine Glenfiddich 18-year single malt scotch is going to hit the spot. Thank you, Robin, very much. And I'm going to enjoy this one. Right? Down the hatch, Semper Fi, God bless America. Always delicious, always tasty. Wow. Thank you, Robin. She says this: the Lone Star tick bite can cause a severe allergy to red meat in humans. Red meat means beef. First human death occurred last year. Wouldn't a mad scientist love to introduce this molecule to the mosquitoes population to infect us with? All in the name of climate change. Yes, indeed, they would. What they're trying to do, folks, is convince us to stop eating red meat because cows are evil. Cows are evil. Cows are bad. Can you believe that shit? Cows eat grass and turn it into meat instead of allowing grass to rot and turn into carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Cows eat grass so that the grass doesn't fall over and get broken down and turn into mold spores, fungus, shit like that. And that's not good for us. But, eating the cows is wrong. And cows turning useless, worthless grass into real meat is wrong. It's all bullshit. Literally, the Great Plains of the United States of America used to be covered in herds, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of bison. Way more than we have today. There was no problem back then. In any event, right? Let's get into this. Someone got bit by a tick. They developed the meat allergy without knowing it. They ate some red meat and died. Do you think Bill Gates is not aware of this? Bill Gates hates cows. In fact, over in Europe, Bill Gates' formula, Bovier, is the drug that they put in the food that stops cows from farting. It stops cows from farting. Why do cows fart? Because they break the grass down and the gases have to go out, right? As the food's digested, right? And they turn what they can ingest and absorb, they turn that into meat, milk, which turns into what? Good things like cheese, right? And butter. Anyways, if the cow isn't farting, that tells me they're not digesting their food normally. Well, Bovier, guess what? It's made cows sick. Bill Gates pushed that shit. It's his shit. It is Bill Gates' fucking drug. They were feeding the cows. It was causing them to be ill, fall down, and fucking die. And farmers have said no more. Or at least the smart ones have. But Bill Gates, I'm sure, has absolutely nothing to do with bugs that bite you and give you, right, mRNA, some sort of genetic change that keeps you and me from being able to digest red meat and die from it. Develop a toxic situation. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's all in the name of climate change, which Bill Gates has now said is not caused by humans. There is no climate change issue. There's no climate crisis. Yet Bill Gates will continue with his, dare I call it, genocidal, anti-human euthanasia program to sterilize, outright fucking kill, or cause people to change their behavior, their diets. They want 15-minute cities where no one can travel outside of. In other words, they want to control and own us all. How far will we be pushed, folks? How far? Whether we're being fucked with by Fauci and Gates, or whether we're being screwed with by foreign entities like China, Israel, the Muslim population, or any other country. When are we going to learn? I've already learned. I'm pretty sure you've learned as well that this is our country and we should be free. Yet we look to Washington, D.C., and who is there? Who is there standing up for us? Who is literally there standing up for us? Oh, well, maybe we'll talk about Marge Taylor Greene here if you guys want to talk about her. Big Marge, we got big news on that one. Anyways, all in the name of climate change, right, Robin? Screw you, screw me, screw us all. Yeah, we need to, stop eating meat. A great source of iron, protein, energy, and fats. We need fats. Oh, don't worry, they can print it with a computer out of organic sludge. Fuck these people. Remember how a couple years ago they were pushing, you're going to eat the bugs. People were getting sick on that. You can't fucking digest bug protein. It's not protein. It's bugs. It's bad enough microscopic amounts get in the food, but yeah, that's where we're at. You're going to feed us bugs, take away our meat, feed us some kind of bio-goo sludge, and the old fear that we're eating other humans. Where are they getting this bio-sludge that they're printing back to look like a meat, a steak, a piece of chicken? Is that Soylent Green? In other words, are they feeding us dead humans? All right, Robin, I know that's disgusting cannibalism and all, but would you put it past the satanic evil fucks who hate us and are trying to destroy Europe? Anything that is an Anglo-Christian nation, Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, yeah, you bet they hate us because our concepts say freedom. Oh, don't worry, they hate Russia as well. They hate Russia as well. Mr. Uman, where are we rolling next? We've got bump, Bioxo77 with $1.99 super chat. And he says, what about pork rinds? Throw them like confetti. Well, I tell you what, pork rinds. I believe that is the skin of the pork animal, right? The pigs. It's pig skin cut up into little pieces. And they either superheat it or boil it in oil. I don't know. And it, poof, right? They're crunchy. They're tasty. Pork rinds. Yeah. If you were to throw these into the air, if you were to wave a bag of pork rinds in front of a Muslim, they can start crying like a fucking goat fucking pussy they are. Call the cops and you will be arrested, Bioxo. So I recommend that you act very judiciously, that you understand the risks you take by facing our enemies domestically here that want to destroy your country. Think about it. Are you willing to go down that road? Are you willing to fight that battle? Now, if you're not willing to go down the road and fight the battle way out there, the battle is going to come to your front fucking step. It's going to come down the highway. It's going to turn down your road. It's going to come to the bottom of your fucking driveway. And it's going to stand there screaming, la, 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 aloha snack bar. Because that's what they do. That is what they do everywhere they go. Name the country. Name a country you never thought would fall to Islam. Germany? Well, that's full of Nazis, man. The fucking Germans. Nope, they're falling. Sweden. Right? Yep. Way up north, yeah, the Muslims don't care. They'll go up there and fuck over Sweden and rape the women and steal the property and invade the government and demand that they be the preferred race and fucking religion. Really? You would think the fucking Irish would fight back with all their fucking Irish hatred of anyone who fucks with them in their own country. I mean, if there's the fucking Irish, the British folks, and we're talking hundreds of years ago, they could not conquer Scotland with an army. They did other things. Right? They couldn't conquer the Irish, but it's the United Kingdom. It's the British Isles, right? They love to fight, yet they've bent over because they're civilized now. The Scots and the Irish, and they are now realizing that was not the move to make. If you give the enemy an inch, they'll just demand another inch and another and another until they pushed you a fucking mile. And now you're the minority to their demands, even though it's not their country. Unbelievable. Share that internet address, folks. Hit the thumbs up no matter what platform you're on. Be sure if you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber. And pork rinds, bacon sandwiches. I mean, this is incredible. They're coming after your dogs too. Dogs are, well, Muslims don't like dogs. Because Muhammad says dogs are bad. You know what's funny? Is dogs can look at a human being and they know. They absolutely know if someone's a piece of shit. And they'll be on guard and they'll growl and bark at them. They know. Fucking dogs know all by themselves. So what do you think when a piece of shit, scumbag, rapist, murdering, thieving sack of crap, and your dog's growling, of course they're going to demand you get rid of your dog. They don't want to be identified, right? The dog sees the horns, folks. The dog sees the devil in bad people. All right, I love dogs, folks. They know. They know. All right, let's have some fun. We're 37 minutes. At 37, hell, we got 2 hours to do here. It is Sunday Night Live, and Soft Kitty is checking in. Kapow! With a $50 super chat donation, and we're going to need a question or comment or something out of Soft Kitty, and there it is. There it is. But first, I'm going to pour that scotch. It is an 18-year single malt scotch, Glenfiddich. Yes, indeed. From Scotland. Right? I feel bad. Our good and dear friend Bob Hunter is having to put up with all these idiots over there violating his rights in his country. But, yep, they're here for us, too. Soft Kitty, thank you. Semper Fi means always faithful. God bless America and the free world. And the free world. Let's fight for our freedoms. So smooth. She writes, did anyone see the Rothschild magazine for their pre-future of USA, trying to keep it clean? I've seen a lot of covers, magazine covers, that the Rothschild and banking cartels are part of. The World Bank, the banking cartel system, economics, finance, monetary systems. They're always, and I don't know which one you're exactly referring to. They always show, I'm going to use the word occult. There's hidden meaning within it. There's symbology. There's their future events planned. In a lot of ways, they tell us exactly what they're going to do to us, or they tell us what they're doing to us at the moment. But they often share where they would like the world to be. You see, they actually, we're talking about the Rothschild, the banking cartels, right? Central banks of the world, including the Federal Reserve Bank and the Bank for International Settlements, the BIZ. They believe that they are the ruling elite. They believe that they are the legitimate ruling elite. And they are tired of the people like me and you in America, the European nations, thinking they own themselves. It's funny, is it not, that these super rich people believe that they're better than you and me, that they have been chosen by some higher power. I'm going to call them Satan, but they've been chosen by a higher power, and they can do no wrong. In other words, they can do all evil, and it's fine because God says so. Their God says it's fine, and so they'll do evil, and they'll change the world, including, and now Rothschilds are heavily into the banking. They started Israel. That's right. They started Israel. They took a bunch of European Jews and said, why don't you go down there and live in Palestine? And the Palestinian people at that time, they brought them in. And then ever since then, it's just been a fight. It's been a fucking fight. But this is what these people do. They want everyone fighting. They want to loan money to all sides in a war. They want to dictate to the governments in times of peace what they can and can't say, where they can and can't spend their money, what they should and should not do, as if they are God's chosen and we are their mind-numb slaves. It's coming. And for the United States of America, they hate our Constitution, folks. They will lie to you about the people that wrote it, the people that fought for it, the people that died for it. They will lie to you about what it does. The Constitution establishes that these rich motherfuckers, the bankers, do not own us or the land or the government, and the government's responsible to the people, not some obscure fucking family or some elite aristocrat in Europe. But here they are. They're already back, aren't they? A couple hundred years, they've snuck their way back in. There are elected officials, our bureaucrats, there are our judges. They fucking buy everyone off with money they've stolen from us. 1913 and before, there was no income tax. No income tax. And somehow we still have police and roads and schools and parks and highways and bridges and tunnels and holy shit. Then the government was like, you guys are living too well. So they took our money, called it taxes, gave it to themselves and their corporations, their banking corporations. Now they've got all the money. They dictate how the money is spent, where it goes, who gets the most, and how much you have to pay. Their picture of America, their future for America is bars and chains and us as their slaves. Fuck them. Thank you, Soft Kitty, very much. I hope I covered that topic as much as you were hoping. It's hard to say without details because I've seen too many banking covers of banking and Rothschild and these fucking scumbags who have hidden behind all manner of groups from, well, the Club of Rome, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission. The Bilderberg Group was a big one. And since then, they've just been like, fuck it. We'll just meet and call it the World Economic Forum. And they'll meet at any time they want, and they'll bring politicians there and instruct them on how to fuck us all over in every country around the world. And we're just supposed to accept it? World Economic Forum. People know where Davos, Switzerland is. Why do you think they want to take your guns from you in America and everywhere around the world? They don't want people to have guns. They want government to have guns. They don't want the people to have guns because then, well, hell, we can defend ourselves and solve our own problems when government fails. And government is failing. Ooh, man, where are we rolling next, amigo? We've got Big Dan the Man with a $5 super chat donation. He says, we haven't played Ned Rex and I guess I can say it, Ragheads. We haven't played Rednecks and Ragheads. Nice haircut, high and tight, you bet. Minnesota is a sad situation. Look, Minnesota's a sad situation. Canada is a horrifying situation. Australia is a disgusting situation. Washington, D.C. is an abominable situation. West Coast of America metropolises are horrifying situations. What's going on in Mexico City is a filthy, dirty, communist situation. Europe, right, everywhere we look, when Mexico was Mexicans, it was great. It's not that anymore. When Canada was Canadians, it was cool, but it's not. It's not. And now it's India. It's Pakistan. It's Sikh and Hindi and Muslims. Canadians, they used to all blonde hair, blue eyes, very white. They were English. They were French. They were great. Not anymore. They were Swedish. They were Norwegian. Gone. They're just they're replacing us. Replacement theory, which is a real theory, not a fucking conspiracy theory, a real theory. Done. Right? They're accomplishing it. It is in play, and they're doing whatever the fuck they want while they're planning the next pandemic, food shortage, war. Oh yeah. Economic collapse and monetary control. Oh yeah, they want to take away your cash, they want to take away your money and give you universal basic income. Central bank digital currency, so they can monitor you and control you, take away all cash. There needs to be another system, but it's beyond a sad situation, Dan. Look at Europe. Fucking London is run by a fucking guy named Sadiq Khan. Sadistic Khan, king. A sadistic king, Sadiq Khan, is in charge of London, fucking England. Does anyone even fucking read the words that they use? It's a slap to the face. Sadiq Khan. Germany, folks. Sweden. Italy. Good God, right? They're just fucking us all over. Look, I know I say I'll never move to fucking Russia because I like to be warm. I like to be warm. But Russia seems to be the only fucking country that would be favorable to a guy like me who just doesn't want to be fucked with and destroyed. Can't go to China. They will fuck with me and destroy me. But Russia, it's too cold. Anyways, let me tell you about Russia. Russia says Ukraine has lost 1.7 million troops in the Ukraine-Russia war. Right? Look, after Moscow's forces have conquered, right, a place called Kupiansk, right, which is a logistics hub in the north, they're just proving again and again and again that Russia can systematically just chew up the Ukrainian military efforts. And it's sad. It's a very sad genocide by Zelensky against his own nation. And who is he killing, folks? Ethnic Ukrainians are being sent to be killed by ethnic Russians. Let me ask you a couple questions, right? Who is Zelensky killing his people, and who is he going to replace them with? A lot of people are saying he is not a Ukrainian, he is a Jew. He is an Israeli. If not by birth or practice, the very fact that that's where they came from. I don't know. Right? A lot of people believe Zelensky's an Israeli firster, and he is removing his people, and they'll be replaced one way or another. It's a weird situation. I would not have to say these fucking things if it would just stop presenting itself as a potential. Why is he continuing to kill all of his people by throwing them into the Russian war machine? The Russian war machine, what is it trying to stop? It is trying to stop a Western-influenced banking system from invading them. And having NATO, a nuclear alliance between European nations that have nukes, they don't want them there with nukes right on their doorstep. There was a promise made by NATO decades ago, by the way, not to do the exact thing that NATO is doing now. Russia's not playing any fucking games. But they don't have to invade all of Europe. They just have to keep Ukraine from becoming what? A NATO country with nuclear weapons right on their fucking border. Having said that, if they kill all the Ukrainian people, or a significant amount of them, who will the Ukrainian government replace their people with? Wild business, folks. Wild, dangerous fucking business. Big Dan the man, where? Thank you, Dan, very much. I was going to ask a question, but I shouldn't ask that question. Anyways, Mr. Uman. Dan Erickson with a $2 super chat says, You figure what happened to the Friday night show? Well, I'll tell you what. My computer was absolutely slogged down with apps that I have never asked to be put on there. Newman and I talked about this. Right, the Friday show got jacked up. I came in and did a quick little thing, just making sure, like a test video for Friday night. There's crap all over my computer. I don't know where it came from. So I went through all of the apps and I removed them and cleaned them off. Other apps that I use frequently, I just removed them and then reinstalled them, and now they operate and perform differently. Microsoft, which is Bill Gates, throws so much shit into people's computers that I don't know how they not stop working. Like, how do they keep working as well as they do? That is what I believe happened to the Friday night show. Tonight, so far, the screen hasn't gone black, has it? I have not disappeared and had to reboot, right? None of those bad things have happened, right? The focus on the camera is good, right? It's not shifting the size of the screen. They just loaded my computer with a bunch of crap. I think they do that to all of us. I don't know how much fucking spyware is on here, but I run anti-spyware and everything else. Uman says, oh boy, now you jinxed it. Probably, but hey, we've done great. Almost 1 hour here on Sunday Night Live, no problems. And all you got to do is spend hour after hour after hour after hour cleaning your computer up just so you can do the most simple tasks. Simple tasks. I've got a couple of spreadsheets. I've got a couple of, I use the internet. I don't do a whole lot on the computer because I don't want my life focused right here on this computer. But having said that, they still push and push and push, right? Whoever thought that they would invent a really fast, useful computer for the public, and then the guy that stole all that data and technology, Bill Gates, would also invent the virus, right? Just like your health and my health, we get sick often, we got to go to the doctor, and what do? They've got drugs for us. They've got the treatment, but not the cure. Our computers get infected with shitty software, viruses, Trojan horses, worms, hackers, and there's no cure for it, but they'll sell you the treatment, won't they? These fucking people. They will not, and I'm telling you, will not go away. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dan the Man. That's what happened. It was not a hack job as feared, but it was really fucked up. It took quite a bit of work to get it to operate again. All right, Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? And it is our good friend Viking Boomer out of Canada with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, hey, things are escalating. Indeed they are, Boomer. An Islamist revolt in Dearborn. That's right, Dearborn, Michigan. Things are escalating. Christians are not happy with what's going on, and the Islamists are out threatening murder, beheading, stabbing, machete attacks, talking shit, promising death. Why? Because they are no longer a tiny percentage of the population in Dearborn, Michigan, and other cities in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, right? Once their population gets enough, they get louder and more demanding, and then they get enough of them to what? To vote in their own people. Like that fucking cocksucker who's a mayor in the one town city, and it may have been Dearborn, but it's up there up north, where he told a Christian who went to a city council meeting, you get out of this city, you don't belong here. That's the government under Muslims. That's the government under any anti-American, anti-freedom political regime. So continuing, Viking, Christmas markets are being invaded in Western Europe. Oh, yeah. Germany and other we'll say European cities, they've got to put up barricades. Barricades to stop Muslims from driving their cars, trucks and buses into crowds of people and slaughtering them in the name of Allah and Muhammad and anti-bacon. Right? In fact, they're making them very creative now. They're making them look like Legos and they're painting them and they're wrapping them like presents. They're fucking barricades to protect people. So instead, the Muslims are doing what? They're organizing themselves and marching through Christmas towns, right? Christmas festival areas. They're chanting and singing their bullshit song. They're screaming their stinking, filthy language, right? Muslim patrol cars. Oh, yeah, I love that. Right? They're not police, but they dress like police. They wear fake badges. And it's not just in New York City. They're doing this around the world. Anywhere there's enough of them, they want to protect Muslims. And so they put people in security outfits, security costumes. And these people run around with their fake bullshit badges, their fake fucking uniforms, and act like authority figures and intimidate people they don't like and make them leave or change their behavior. You can't have a dog here. You can't have your shop there. Oh, we've got to have it our way. Right? And they're actually pushing this in New York City. This is not going to end well. And America, the United States of America, because of our Second Amendment, is going to be the place where they're going to have the hardest time taking over. But only if the American people stand up and start using their rights. And now, Viking Boomer, we're going there. It's called the Declaration of Independence. It is organic, legitimate, de jure law. And I don't give a fuck what any Supreme Court justice like Amy Coney Barrett has to say about it. The Declaration is law. And it says, when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. This doesn't just go for Washington, D.C., my friends, my brothers and sisters. This goes for Dearborn, Michigan. This goes for any American city or state when the government has reduced the people to living under absolute tyranny, despotism, when their rights are being violated. It is our right, it is our duty to throw them off. And there is historical precedence for citizens taking up arms in America. This is post-revolution. In fact, this was the 1900s. It was in the 20th century. They went and arrested city council, mayors, and other corrupt officials and arrested them. Now, the fucking state won't like that. The federal government won't like that. But if the people show up armed, and I am not pushing violence or unlawful behavior, I am pushing and calling for Americans to act within the law. To act within the law. And the Declaration of Independence is law. It was the lawful belief in freedom and liberty, and that we as individuals living under and within our rights under God, that we can determine if and when we're being attacked, harmed, or our rights violated by any fucking government, foreign or domestic. And that takes us to the oath of office, right? You swear an oath to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So Ma'am Danny in New York City, he is a foreign and now domestic enemy. Washington, D.C. is showing us again and again, it is a domestic enemy of the people and a domestic enemy of the Constitution. Right? What is going on in Dearborn and every other city, in every state, where they're violating our Constitution? It is a revolt. It is a revolt. It is an insurrection against our Constitution, our rights, and our country. Now, let me just quickly run back to the Civil War. That was a fight between states' rights and federal power. That's what that was about. It was not about whether or not we want to be communist or free. It wasn't about whether we wanted to be socialist or free. It was about whether or not the federal government was going to tell some states how to behave and how they had to do business. It was a completely awful fucking war, and it was about states' rights. 10th Amendment died. They didn't remove it from the Constitution. They just fucking ignored it. And the more they ignore the Constitution and call themselves the masters of the people, the more government shows us they are the tyrants who are trying to reduce us as slaves in absolute despotism. And it is our right and our duty when we've fucking suffered enough to get rid of them. And that goes for every one of these fucking cocksuckers in Seattle, Los Angeles, Dearborn, Minneapolis, New York City, Baltimore, the state of Virginia, the state of California, Chicago, and the entire state of fucking Illinois. It's up to the people. It is literally up to the people. Now, in other countries, I feel very bad. Canada, our brothers and sisters up north. Australia, another great country. Right, this is where we're at. I heard you, Uman. This is where we're at. You guys don't have our Declaration of Independence. Even though the American Declaration of Independence has been used by many, many, many countries, South and Central America, over in Southeast Asia, they've used the Constitution and referred to its rights to cast off the government they have. And, well, they didn't install our Constitution. They've installed communism, socialism. But they use the Declaration of Independence as lawful justification for their actions. Right? So if they can use it in another fucking country that is not even common law Anglo, then we who are common law jurisdictions, the country was established under common law. Our Constitution was common law created, even though they've invited Roman civil law to join it. And I know that's a big discussion. But we don't have the same rights we had 200 years ago or 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. Right? We don't enjoy we don't get to enjoy the practice and utility of our rights. Right? They're trying to stop our free speech. They're trying to screw with our guns. The 4th and 5th Amendment are absolutely fucking toast. The 7th Amendment, fuck it. Let's just torture people in prison now. Like I said, they've already killed the 10th Amendment back in the Civil War. Everything is bullshit now. And the government only gets away with taking away what we're not willing to fight for. And I think that's where we're getting. This is not going to end well. And I hope and I pray that the Canadian people, the good Canadians, the good Australians, have enough guns and guts to stand up for themselves. And the time is going to come. Now, when we say it's not going to end well, it is not going to end well for those who despise freedom. For those of us who love freedom, it's going to end. But we're going to lose friends, family, treasure, and freedom. It's going to be a hell of a fight. That fight is coming. That is SHTF. That is Mad fucking Max. That is going to be civil conflict, partisan conflict, and it will also have religious conflict and over and undertones in it. All you've got to do, though, is be ready, because chance favors the prepared mind. And if you've got something to say, like Viking just put up here, hit that super chat button right up there. Support this channel, and I'll put you on the screen, or Uman will, right? And whether or not you want to be famous, what you'll be doing is helping people think, right? If there's one thing Charlie Kirk did, and I didn't always approve of his niceness, but he was really good at getting people to talk without violent rhetoric, getting them to talk, to have a conversation, to think. And most of the time, he couldn't change people's minds, but a lot of times there were young people going, you know what? I like the way you think, man. Once you grab someone and pull them out of the brainwashing, the brainwash that Americans have is we have to do what government says. No, you do not. Government has to do what we say. But you have to be cautious. Government thinks it can tell us what to do, and that they have the right to do it and enforce it with a gun to your face. You've got to play this judiciously, intelligently. Right? We're not ready. It is not that time, but it is coming. In my opinion, it's coming. And government is allowing it. Does government think? Do these fucking idiots in Congress, in our state Congresses, in our state governor's mansions, in the White House, do they think that they can just destroy this fucking country, replace as many of us as possible, and that we're not going to come after them? Do they think that? What are we going to have? A fucking Muslim a Marine Corps and a Muslim fucking army and a Muslim fucking American Navy? Is that what they think? They're going to have all these other units? Well, they're trying it. Oh, you can have your turban and wear a beard. So sorry. It's fucking America. No. But they're fighting that fight, folks. They're trying to take it from us. We voted for Trump. We got some good things, and we got a mouthful of bullshit spoken to us. What am I talking about? What do you mean? How about Doge? How about the Department of Government Efficiency? It does not exist. In fact, it never fucking existed. It's a non-entity, folks, and it was killed long ago. Once money laundering was exposed and there was no arrests, and Elon Musk was saying, we need to make arrests. We found all this corruption. We found all this theft. We found all this money laundering. We found it all, and it was just fucking destroyed. That's when Elon Musk threw a fit. Our nation is owned by a foreign government and a foreign monetary system. It controls our politicians. Hey, if you've got it, let's have the discussion. Prove me wrong. Tell me how foreign banks don't control us. Tell me how foreign nations don't own and influence our government. Wait, now go back to World War II. Hitler wanted to defeat America, but Hitler did not want to occupy it. You know what his plan was instead? You may not read this in any fucking books because it's not in the books they want you to know about. His plan was to control our politicians, and through control of our politicians, control our nation and control our people. That's what Hitler wanted to do. He didn't want to occupy it because he knew he'd be fighting Americans. So he wanted to control the government. Does that sound like a very small nation that we hear about often, claiming it's our greatest ally and that it controls America and it's done so for decades? Sounds kind of familiar, huh? That's the plan. It's a great plan. Take over a government by controlling its politicians. Well, you don't have to believe that. You can believe it or you cannot. You can research it or you cannot. It's up to you. But here I want to discuss it. But see, they're wanting to stop the discussion. The powers that be in Washington. They don't want you having the discussion. They don't want you to hear from a guy like me that the Constitution is real. They don't want you to believe that the Declaration of Independence is law. Because, well, then we get to make decisions on our own behalf when government fails to make decisions that benefit us. All right, let us continue if we shall. Rut-row. Mr. Uman, we're going to do Christina Thompson. Let's get that one up there. It was important enough for you. And she says, I'll not trade one tyrant 1,000 miles away for 1,000 tyrants 1 mile away. That's quite interesting, a statement, Christina. Let's read it again so we can think about it. I'll not trade one tyrant 1,000 miles away for 1,000 tyrants 1 mile away. It's interesting math. 1 times 1,000 is 1,000, right? So if you've got 1,000 tyrants a mile away, you won't trade that for. So either way, we're screwed. Now, this one tyrant 1,000 miles away, that could be the president. It could be the head of a mosque or a synagogue, right? Or you've got 1,000 tyrants just within, 1 mile. Either way, we're in big trouble because they're not Americans. They're tyrants. They're literally tyrants. All right. Mr. Uman, Chin Music has checked in with a $52.23 super super chat donation. And it's about time. I was getting a little thirsty, so I want to thank you, Mr. Chin Music, for this great donation. It's 50. Oh, I poured it a little tall. Sorry about that. Whoopsie. Anyways, $50. And all your super chats keep the lights on. They pay for our subscriptions, and they make sure we stay prepped here. Otherwise, I'd have to go get another job, and 3 jobs is too many. 3 jobs is too many. In any event, Semper Fi, thank you, Chin Music. Oh, like mother's milk. Let's see. Have I got anything here from Chin Music in the way of questions, comments, or anything like that? Let's see here. The answer is no. All right. Uman, am I supposed to be on the Uman Jolene? We don't know. We don't know. Okay. Well, here we are. Thank you, Chin Music. That was a good scotch. Get your text into me or over to Oliver, and we'll roll with that. For now, I've had the scotch. All good. But you, sir, always have something good to say, something interesting, something that makes me think, kind of like what would you rather have? What would you rather have? A tyrant 1,000 miles away or 1,000 tyrants 1 mile away? You know, in a way, I almost would wish for the 1,000 tyrants 1 mile away, because then, you know, they would feel inspired to start the fight. Start the fight that, there we go. Start the fight that we could fix. Well, Chin Music sent me a meme, if you will. I guess I can share this. It shows a major United States of America politician who has run and was almost a presidential nominee for the Republicans, but who has demonstrated over the last several months that he is Israel's bitch. Senator Ted Cruz from Texas has taken $1,872,038 from the America-Israeli Political Action Committee. Yeah, that would be our good buddy, right? And here's another one. Yeah, our good buddy Ben Shapiro, who said, well, you know, if you can't afford to live in your city, then you should move. And he says, if you would stop noticing, that'd be great. If you would stop noticing foreign influence over our government, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. Anyways, Mr. Chin Music, thank you for sending those. We shall get right back up here and start going again. All right, Mr. Uman, I'm going to send you a big question mark there to make sure we're on the same page. Let's roll. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've got none other than Bioxo77 checking in. This is 2 for Bioxo, $4.99 super chat. And he says, hey, speaking of Canada, did you see they are doing mandatory pew-pew gun buybacks? The good for citizens will do the right thing. They have 1 year. Yeah, you have 1 year to turn in your gun, and they'll give you some money. And if you don't, then what? You know what I have not seen yet, Mr. Uman? Maybe you have. Help me out on this. Have you seen any country that, well, had rights to self-defense and the ownership of guns, whether it's a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun? Have you seen a country where the government says, that's it, we're now going to send armed law enforcement to your homes to take your guns? I can't think of England or Scotland or Ireland doing that. They voluntarily turn theirs in. Canada, Australia, voluntary turn-in. Mandatory turn-in was Russia under the communists. Guess what they did? They just fucking killed everyone. You see, when the government says we are going to mandatory, we're going to come take your guns, they just start killing people. You want to play that fucking game? Now, see, what they do with, like, let's just use Australia and then Canada as examples. For years and years and years, they keep pushing this. You should turn them in. This gun's illegal. That gun's illegal. You can't have this. You can't have that. You should turn them in for money. And then eventually they get to where the population that has them is so small that they cannot muster the martial or military force needed to put the government back in its place. Now, I can't tell you how interesting it is for me to hear government officials scared to death that they're going to be shot. For example, up in Minnesota, Tampon Tim Walz, the governor, was accused by a murderer who assassinated politicians. That, you know, he was responsible. He hired him. That story just went away. State representatives were assassinated by someone dressed as a policeman who showed up at their house and shot them, killed them. The same guy who was caught said, hey, the governor hired me and I was also supposed to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar. Politicians are horrified and terrified. Now, mainstream media, politicians, they're always like, these right-wing extremists are very dangerous. You know why they say we're dangerous? Because we have the ability and the right to defend ourselves from a government that's out of fucking control. And so they don't fear the left because they're a bunch of communist twinkle-toed fucking faggots. They're not afraid of them because they think they can control them. But what have they discovered? They actually know that these left-wing fruitcakes are more dangerous than us right-wingers, but for different reasons. They want their communist revolution. They want their socialism. And the politicians are more than willing to give it to them. Are they not? Seattle. Okay, let's take everyone's money and give it to the illegals. And give it to whatever. While they enrich themselves, of course. In New York City, Ma'am Danny, who, by the way, President Trump was all nicety nice and smoochity smooch, complimenting this piece of shit, un-American, lying sack of crap. While at the same time calling Marge Taylor Greene a traitor. But anyways, these communists, yeah, they'll promise everyone that they're going to tax the rich and tax the white and steal their money and redistribute it to everybody. That is the communist promise. But then they look around and they're like, well, there's no other, how do we get money? Because now that we've stolen the rich people's money and killed them, taken everyone's rights, there's nothing left to take. Then they go into starvation mode. We, if we get that far, are in a big trouble. Canada, yeah, mandatory gun buybacks. The next step is, well, armed gun collection. And they'll come after the people and go, you've been warned, you had a chance to turn them in, you're now criminals. So therefore the government is justified in murdering you to take your guns. Oh, I'm sure they'll try sneaky arrest attacks. Oh, you bet. It's always easier to do that, right? Sneak in there when you're asleep, bang your door down in the middle of the fucking night. That's what they love. That's what they love. Just fucking slaughtering people and then saying, well, you're the criminals, not us, even though the government's violating our rights. And let me give you a fucking taste of this. A well-regulated militia, meaning a well-practiced, a well-trained militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, not a communist state, a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It sounds like a fucking infringement, and I know it's Canada, but they're trying it here. In fact, the piece of shit Attorney General, Pam Bimbo Bondi, she hates guns, and she made a statement the other day that seems to indicate that any and all handguns should be confiscated and made illegal. Fuck you, Pam. Fucking try it. Now, the First Amendment, the Bacon Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, like Islam or Judaism. Right? by establishment, respecting an establishment of religion. What does that mean? What does it mean to establish a law respecting religion? It means it's going to say this one is superior to all the others, right? In other words, a state mandated religion. They fucking hate Christianity. They don't establish and respect that at all. But they're respecting and forcing us to respect Israel. You can't be an anti-Semite. Muslims, you can't have pork, right? That's what they've done. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So basically, they're telling us no more bitching about the government shitting all over us. And the government can tell you you cannot criticize Islam or Judaism, but fuck you, Christians. This is where we're at, folks. First Amendment and the Second Amendment, they want to stop us. I'm not calling for an armed revolution. I'm not calling for an armed militia. I'm not calling for anyone to hurt anyone else. But feelings are subjective, and we ought to be able to talk about anything we want. There is no such thing as a fucking hate crime. There's only regular crime. And violating our rights is a fucking crime, governments. I'm just one man. They can come and arrest me in 5 minutes or 5 days. They can shut off this channel and all Prepared Mind channels, and everyone else. They can fucking bitch slap Tucker Carlson. They can bitch slap Nick Fuentes. They can pronounce Mark Levin and Josh Shapiro the new saviors of the country if they want. And what are we going to do about it? Well, the only thing you can do about it is exercise your constitutional rights and your God-given rights as described in the Declaration of Independence. They don't want to go that far, is my point. They want to convince you to abandon your rights. You see what I'm saying? They want to convince you to abandon your rights. I mean, this is interesting. It's on, says the mainstream media, because President Trump is doubling down on Democrat lawmakers. And this is what he said. The traitors that told the military to disobey my orders should be in jail right now. That's what Trump wrote. I call bullshit, because there have been zero arrests. Not a single important arrest for treason, fraud, bribery, extortion, money laundering has happened. It's all bullshit. They're fucking liars. All the way up to the White House. It's all bullshit. But they want you to abandon your right to red meat, to real food, to good health care, to clean water and air. They're poisoning our fucking air. They're putting chemicals in our water, and they want us to be subjected to their medical experimentation by taking forced vaccines to stop a bullshit pandemic that never fucking occurred. Meanwhile, they're injecting our country full of non-Americans who will vote for the stupidest Marxist shit and violate your rights all the way to the fucking grave. Ooh, man, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? We're at almost the 90-minute mark, folks. If you've got something to say right here, and Danny Gen Xer is on as a YouTube member. Thank you, Danny. Everything that you guys do to support the channel is appreciated and necessary. Thank you, amigo. And another Gen Xer. Andrew Sitsky checks in. He says, how the fuck does Trump cry that those 6 Democrats need to be in jail and Bondi is nowhere to be seen? That's just it. That is just it. See, he wants to stand up there and cry like a bitch for people to be arrested or tried for treason or threaten they should be hung. He wants to talk trash so he can sound like he's ready for the fight. But the president doesn't go out and put handcuffs. That's Kash Patel. That's state troopers. That's local police that should be able to arrest these fucking traitors. I don't know why states are not arresting these fucking politicians for treason. States have laws, do they not? And if they're violating our rights, That's a fucking crime. If they're pushing lawlessness through the military, that is calling for military insurrection. That's a fucking crime. But all he wants to do is bitch about it. Pam Bondi is going to do nothing. She is a fucking sellout, worthless sack of lying, anti-American shit. I'm done with her. Kash Patel is a bug-eyed fruitcake. And they know better. He knows better. Yet he's willing to take the honey and take the money and talk tough and do nothing and fucking lie his ass off. I think that government officials, if they speak a lie, they should be held accountable and they get to go to jail. Speaking to you and me, the public, and lying should be perjury. It should be a perjurious affair, a perjurious crime. If I sign a government document and I sign it knowing it's a lie, I get charged with perjury. I get thrown in jail. I go to court. I get found guilty and I go to jail. They lie to us all fucking day long. And they do launder money. And they do bribe others. And they do commit extortion. And they do commit fraud all day long. No arrests. So to answer your question, Andrew, how does Trump cry? Easy. Because there's no consequence. And it's no skin off of his teeth. And he gets to sound like he's fighting for us. These guys need to be in jail. And Republicans are all excited. Yeah. But nothing happens. So they can recycle, rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. They keep doing the same thing. And the dumbasses continue to get all excited and mad and hope and hopium that the government will do something, and they fucking don't. The Democrats, though, they're going to get back in power at some point. At some point, America is going to try it again. And when the Democrats are in power, it'll get nasty again. Ooman says Trump didn't do dick to clean up D.C. during his first term. And he's almost 1 year into doing nothing to clean up D.C. in his second term. Ooman says, fuck him and his entire administration until we start seeing arrests. Correct. If you show me some arrests, I might go, hey, looks like something's changing. Good job, fucknuts. Good job, Pam Blondie. Good job, Kash Patel. Good job, Dan Bongina. You did something. Now go do some fucking more. Instead of flying around in the FBI airplane jet on our dollar to run and check on your girlfriend, make sure she's not fucking someone who's in her league. And you, Bondi, what the fuck are you doing anyways? Who the fuck are you and what do you do? All I see is her running to microphones and sucking up to Trump and hiding in his fucking shadow. I have never seen a more worthless fucking government than I've seen. Well, shit, since Reagan. Since Reagan was president. I don't know if we've ever had an actual government that serves us, the people. They always serve themselves and bankers. And anytime you get a real president that gives a fuck, what happens? They get a fucking bullet in them. Maybe Teddy Roosevelt was the last fucking decent American president, right? He ran as a bull moose, right? Kennedy? I think Kennedy was trying to be a good president. It wasn't perfect, far from it. Far from perfect as a human being. But he caught a fucking bullet for any number, right? Any one of a number of different things he did that threatened the establishment, from the CIA to the bankers to Israel to the military-industrial complex, the war complex, to the legal system, the monetary system. The mafia was pissed at him. The fucking Cubans were pissed at him. For some reason, the Secret Service decided to pull all of their security away. I think Trump was I actually believe this, that Trump wanted to do good. Now he's owned. He is like a fucking bitch on a leash with Netanyahu. And he's a bitch on a leash to the fucking bankers. The Democrat Party was a bitch on a leash to China, to fucking Israel, to the Europeans. When are we going to have an American government that gives a fuck about America? I guess the Brits, the Scots, the Irish, the French, the Spanish, the Italian, the Portuguese, the German, the Austrians, the fucking Swiss, the Dutch, the Swedish, the Norwegians, the Finns, the Hungarians, the whole, when are we going to have a government that represents them? Unfucking believable. Seriously. Now, Steve Bannon, my friends, and I'm not a huge Steve Bannon fan, but I'll ask you, is he wrong? Because he questioned Zoran Mandamity and questions his citizenship. He says, the guy hates whites, he hates Christians, he hates Americans. I happen to agree with Steve Bannon on this because I have read what Zoran, the goat lover, has said. They hate America. Our own politicians appear to hate America, and they will fly to Israel the drop of a fucking hat. They'll fly to China. They'll fly anywhere to kiss someone else's ass to make a deal that makes them a couple $1,000s. Are they so cheap? Are they such fucking horrifying prostitutes? The answer that I can come up with is, yeah, they must be, because they're always willing to sell us out. They're always willing to sell us out. I mean, at the same time, they'll say things that we want to hear, they think. For example, Trump has ordered United States government embassies to, quote, take note of countries where authorities promote or fund abortion, or where authorities, the government, promotes euthanasia, that is the killing of its citizens, or any country that promotes gender reassignment, that is transgender in their minors, their children. Well, fuck, there's Canada and Israel right off the bat, right out the gate. I got two. Yeah, they promote transgenderism. They promote killing people they don't like. They promote abortions, killing the unborn. How many other countries promote all that? So what the fuck does Trump mean? Take note of countries where authorities promote that. Okay, we took note. Now what, dickhead? Right? Unbelievable. And no one has brought it up, but Marge Taylor Greene has tendered her resignation as a congressional person, I think January 3rd or 4th or 5th or whatever fucking day will be her last day. She's walking away. She's been in Congress for years and years and years. Someone said, she's doing that because she wants to make sure she gets her pension. All you have to do is serve one fucking term and they take care of themselves the rest of their lives. Whatever. Marge Taylor Greene has been chased out of Congress, chased out of the government for calling out the lapdog politicians and who their masters are, who their puppet masters are. Marge Taylor Greene, according to authorities, has taken zero money from the America-Israeli Political Action Committee. That's one less pro-America, America First style politician. Gone. Meanwhile, fat-ass sack of shit Randy Fine out of Florida, congressman, said one more anti-Semite down and hundreds to go. They want to clean out everyone who disagrees with Israel. Fuck you, Randy, you fat sack of shit. And Mandami and that stupid bitch in Seattle and Bass in LA. They hate our country, folks. They hate this thing. They hate the Constitution. Are you prepared for what they're going to do to us? You see, it's not about just hating everything. It's destroying us. Unbelievable. Whether they hate us for our religion, our Christian beliefs, or they hate us for the color of our skin, or they hate us for the moral code that we have, which is the golden rule. Right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. They hate that. They want to do unto you what they feel like doing because, well, it serves their purposes. Right? Take note of countries. I say take note of politicians that are not serving this country. I mean, get this. Senator Aliza Slotkin has now admitted that Trump never issued an illegal order, that she wants the military to ignore. But she'll compare Trump to Hitler. She calls for military sedition while, citing the Nuremberg trials. Why don't we just turn around and point the Nuremberg trials at the Israelis or at Zelensky? Right? It's all bullshit, in other words. It's all bullshit. Every last bit of it. And it's going to come down to, are they trying to kill us openly, and are we prepared to fight back? Whether we're in America or Ethiopia, whether we're in Canada, Australia, or Ukraine, the people have a right to life. But even in America, we're no longer safe. The beacon of freedom is now under attack. In fact, Zoran Mandami, after visiting Trump at the Oval Office, is confirming that he thinks Trump is a fascist and is a threat to democracy, and he has doubled down that New York City is going to be a sanctuary city. Can you believe that shit? All right. What have we got here? Check your signal. All right, Chin Music. I checked my signal and oh, wait, I was in the wrong thing. I'm going to check signal. 1 second here. Here we go. Chin Music says, and he did a $52.23 super chat donation. Already had the scotch. And he said, he saw today some goat fucker in Miami was having a media meltdown because people were making fun of him with, quote, bacon. Yeah, that's the Muslim that showed up, held a press conference, and the media, lapdog media, was right there because Florida is a huge threat to the New World Order, World Economic Forum destruction that's coming out of D.C., right? But yeah, they arrested some people over the bacon stuff, but this guy was having a meltdown. So Chin Music said, well, he's close to the edge of the country. I suggest he jump in the Atlantic and start swimming east. Yeah, if you don't like America and bacon, get the fuck out. Now, folks, the Muslims are demanding that we assimilate to their culture. Can you fucking believe that one? Literally telling us we have to assimilate and accept them, not the other way around. They're coming to our country and saying we have to bend to them because they're now here. Talk about a supremacist mentality. Right now, Chin Music continues and says, Kennedy got whacked not long after he said he wanted the American Zionist Council, which is now today called AIPAC, to register with FARA. They would have to have disclosed their donors. You see, they don't want that. They don't want to show that the money being paid to our politicians is coming from Israel. They don't want to know, but they don't want us to know who they are to register as a foreign agent. The FARA, F-A-R-A requirements. Right? They don't want to register. They don't want to be foreign agents registered here trying to affect and influence our politicians, because then they can be held responsible and accountable for what they're doing and saying and what those politicians are doing. So they're hiding behind a very thin veil, but that veil is now becoming more and more transparent as we see people like Mark Levin and Laura Loomer and Ben Shapiro shit-talking Americans and then hiring politicians like Ted Cruz to attack Americans. They love it. They fucking love it. They think they're winning. What they're doing is pissing everyone off, and they're going to end up in a situation, possibly, that could be a lot like 1920s and 30s Germany, where the people of Germany said, know what? No more transgenderism, no more cross-dressing, no more homosexuality being pushed through pornographic crap on the people of the world. And they said no more, and they threw them out of their country. They got rid of that. Those were the books that were burned in Germany, folks. It was a bunch of smut and immoral shit. And Hitler was against it. Trump isn't stopping any of that, by the way. Trump is not Hitler. He's not even fucking close. He's not doing anything Hitler-esque in the least. In any event, thank you, Chin Music, for that. And a lot more people are saying that openly now. And so that's why Israel and Washington, D.C. is screaming, you guys can't say that. And they're shutting it down. On the other hand, the Muslims are saying, you can't say that because, well, they don't like us either. So it seems we have two factions fighting for control of America, and neither of them have anything to do with this country's origins and foundation. Wow. All right. Ooh, man, let's have it. We've got, whoa, we're doing great. The show is cruising along. And Big Dan, the man, is back with a hat trick, his third super chat donation, $10. And he says, hey, starting January 1st, 2026. That's in 1 month and 7 days. In Washington State, a 10% tax on precious metals transactions. This is ridiculous. They don't know how much I have, sell it in Idaho, the money management in the state. Yeah. They're putting a 10% tax on money. That's unconstitutional for one. It's unconscionable because some states, right, they're already charging tax. Anyways, they want money. That's all the government cares about is fucking you out of your money and your wealth, to impoverish you and take your money and give it to worthless Muslims, foreigners, and bankers and politicians. They take our money and give it to politicians. They take our money and give it to politicians. They take our money and give it to politicians who give it to whoever they want, just not you or me. That's what they're doing. They're impoverishing us, enriching themselves, and giving money to the enemies of America so they can destroy it. Folks, I went to the RMZ to get away from it all. Years ago, back in 2020, July 11th, I got on a fucking plane and flew out of America. And ultimately, I came back to America in Florida and said, that's it. It's time to fucking fight. I did. I got on a fucking plane and just flew the fuck out. Lived in a jungle, had that adventure. But, you know, the fight is here. It's over stupid shit like this. The Constitution said gold and silver is the only thing that's money. How can you be taxed on money? Money. Anyways, world is fucked up. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan. Appreciate that. I recommend getting the fuck out of that state if you can, or finding ways around to legally avoid their taxes. I find it fascinating that at some point, government buildings are going to go up in flames. Bureaucracies are going to go up in flames. And I don't know if it's going to be Antifa or the radical right, or if it's going to be Muslims or the radical right, or if it's going to be communist or it's going to be radical freedom-loving Americans. Tired of them calling them the radical right. How about freedom-loving Americans? See, they don't want to call you that because if they said freedom-loving Americans are tired of the government and they're thinking of getting violent, well, they're freedom-loving. That's the problem. That's their problem with you and me. Now, I can say all this because I haven't called for anyone to commit insurrection or violence. I just know it's bound to happen. It's probably going to be started by 1%ers and 3%ers. That is to say, Americans who are willing to take up arms and get violent, and then they'll be supported by others who don't want to get in the fight. We're going to find out. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the great support. And I'm glad that you are willing to fight the good fight and you're prepared to fight the good fight, just like all good Americans are willing and prepared. It's just, when does it happen? At this point, when does it happen? Trump isn't going to fix things. They're not going to drain the sewer of Washington, D.C. It's not a swamp. Hell, I live in swamps down here in Florida. It's great. It's free. There's alligators. They'll eat you. There's snakes. They'll bite you. Swamp is a good thing. Water, life. Sewers, on the other hand, fetid, rotten sewers full of disease. That is Washington, D.C. That is every fucking state capital that's blue. That is every Democrat politician. They're sewer creatures. They're filthy sewer creatures. I got that off my chest. Thank you, Big Dan. Ooh, man, where do we want to roll next? We got 15 minutes left in this Sunday Night Live, and it's your show, folks, Sunday Night Live. There's a super chat button. Get you on the screen like Danny Gen Xer here. $5 super chat. Much appreciated. He says, hey, the new jihad is through the ballot box. We, the sheeple, and our national sovereignty have been sold to the highest bidders. Stay vigilant and prepare. Great advice and a great perspective. Thank you, Danny, for joining the fight. The new jihad. A jihad is a holy war. It's through the ballot box. So the radical Muslims will use guilt to trick liberal dumbass Democrats to vote for them so they feel better about themselves. I voted a Muslim in. Oh, aren't we opening and we're diverse and we like equity and inclusion. These fucking people want to cut your throats, you dumbasses. They want to rape your daughters, you dumb fucks. The jihad is through the ballot box. They can replace us, and they're doing it. Same thing they've done in England and all of Europe. All of Europe. They're convincing people that, well, you're bad and evil for being white, for being civilized, for being American and black, or American and Hispanic, or American indigenous. You're bad. You need to elect these fucking people. Right? Everything about our country has been sold to the highest bidders. Down in Texas, what are they doing? They're literally using your tax dollars in Texas to fund Muslim centers. The fuck is that about? What does a Muslim center want to do? They want to introduce Sharia law and practice it off the books, not a government, but their own government. And they're openly saying that they're doing that, and they're going to force you to participate. Don't worry, folks. The other power brokers on the planet have no problem letting them do that, because they'll just come in later and claim that, well, their power is supreme. And they will level areas of Texas and Minnesota and Michigan and any other area of the country the same way they've leveled Gaza. Don't worry. They just need you, America, out of the way, and then they can steal whatever they want from these idiots, these goat fuckers that they've been tricking forever. Crazy business. Thank you, Danny. Glad you're here. Share the internet address, folks. Get people to wake the fuck up. You may not like me, the way I talk, but I will describe facts and point you to them and then say, you come up with your own decision. Is Europe better now than they were 10 years ago or 20 or 30? Have you seen the films of European nations where people walk around and there's not trash all over the ground? Their fucking rivers aren't full of literal garbage. Where the streets have businesses with tables and umbrellas and trees and flowers, and the people are free and happy. Now it's trash everywhere. Ruined cars, smashed up, boarded up windows. And the streets are full of people who are not Europeans. They're Middle Easterners. It's disgusting as fuck. And they're here on purpose, and they know what they're doing, exactly why they're here in America and in Europe, in Canada and in Australia. It's to destroy and overtake it. They're very low IQ idiots, folks. They're inbred like a motherfucker. They have low IQs and they're inbred. And they're inbred because they have low IQs. So they have low IQs and they inbreed more, and they are stupid and they can be easily controlled. You, my friends, are falling into their trap with low IQs. People that are intelligent, see what's going on, and understand who your enemy is. And I can't tell you how many fucking times I've heard that certain people from a certain ethnicity are smarter than the rest of us. The fuck they are. They're evil. And evil is willing to commit crimes. You, my friends, are not evil. And that is why you're restrained. And the Declaration of Independence explains that people will long suffer evil until they can't any longer. It's not that the evil people are smart or good at what they're doing. They're just fucking evil. But the moment someone stands up to them and fights back or defends themselves in the country, guess who gets called evil? You right-wing extremists. Exactly. Ooh, man, who's up next in the Prepared Mind channel? Sunday Night Live at the Zoo. And it is Big Dan, the man with a $20 super chat donation. That's 4. Big Dan takes the lead. And tell you what, you add all of those up, well, hell, you add all of Big Dan's up, I think we're at about $50. I'm just a thirsty man. Anyways, cheers to you, Big Dan. Thank you, sir, for always supporting the channel. And I'm pretty pissed off right now anyway, so I needed that shot so I can calm the fuck down. All right, Big Dan. He says, yep, Microsoft, we're all digitally trapped unless you're an Apple person. Seems like every other new operating system you buy, it costs more. It costs more to monitor, and the printer and the scanner and whatever you else has to be replaced. It's a big scam. Everything's a big scam. That's the Harley Earl started that. It was planned obsolescence. Instead of making a washing machine that lasts 30, 40 years, make a washing machine that breaks every 3 to 5 years and you have to replace. And hell, let's include some technology so it watches and controls and monitors what you're doing. Your smart appliances are connected to the fucking internet. And if you think there's not a back door into that, think again. Think again. And Apple, I hate to say it, traps its people every bit as much as Samsung does. They just do it in different ways. Maybe they're not as obvious. Maybe their operating system is smoother, doesn't have the troubles that Microsoft does. But if you think it's not fucking spying on you, you got another thing coming. In fact, Israel the other day just got caught because they've got embedded software in Samsung phones that cannot be removed. And even if it's turned off, it still fucking spies on you. This is what government wants. This is what foreign intelligence services want. So when I talk shit about Mossad, remember, they had phones with explosives created and distributed. And then they've blown up people they don't like with them. Phones, iPads, or pads. And we all know that, well, the batteries inside of our devices are lithium-ion batteries. And if they overheat, they can explode. So how do you make a battery overheat? You have it discharge itself too fucking fast. Anode and cathode, right? They just, how many times has your phone gotten hot? I've seen it. I think that they can blow up our phones, explosives or not. I don't trust these fucking people. I do not trust them, Sam. I am. All right, Mr. Uman. Thank you, Dan, for your great support and for the cumulative shot that you provided. Well done. Mr. Uman, we're down to the last 8 minutes. And Viking Boomer's back with a Canadian $10 super chat. And he says, oh, this is a good one. I'm having difficulty digesting the most recent meeting between Trump and Dummy, the new mayor of New York City. Was Trump just trying to be courteous, or will he actually cower down to that communist? Boomer, I think we're all having a little trouble. Why was Trump nice to him, but talk shit about Representative Massey, who is America first? Mondamy is anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-American. Why is Trump even inviting him to the White House? It feels to me, if I weren't an educated American, that looking from the outside, it seems like we're all being fucking played. Like they're actually all on the same team. They're all in a big club, and we're not in it. But once you get into the club, hey, let's pretend like we hate each other, but let's just kiss each other's asses. Right? I'm surprised they didn't talk a bunch of shit. Well, Mondamy did. After the meeting, he started all of his bullshit talking again. Perfect. Right? Perfect. Yeah, he calls Trump a fascist and all this other shit. So why was Trump being nice to him? Is he doing one of those 5D chess things where he's going to set them up and then take them down the same way he set everyone up and didn't take them down his first 4 years and set everyone up and didn't take them down now? He's got everyone by the balls, Trump does, but guess what? He's not doing anything. He's not arresting anybody. No, he's not defunding anybody. You think for a fucking second, if we've gone in another $2 trillion debt, $1 trillion debt in the last couple of months under Trump, that he's somehow magically stopped spending money because of you said, right? How did we go into even more debt if they've made all these cuts? Well, they haven't. They haven't. It's a fucking game. It's a sham. It's a scam. If you understand or take the perspective that they're lying to us at all times, that fucking explains this meeting. Why would Trump even want to meet with someone who wasn't born in America, is a fucking communist, lied on his naturalization papers, wants global intifada, which is a global religious war against Christians, and then invite him to the fucking White House? They should have invited him and put him in the fucking gallows. I don't know what Trump is anymore, folks. I think he's been fucking replaced by a fucking robot. Because that's not an American that would invite a communist, un-American piece of shit. And the same with Zelensky. Why is Trump even talking to Zelensky? Just pull the fucking weapons, pull the money out of there, and let him fucking crash. Russia will stick with Russia. Ukraine will have to be fucking poor and fucked up, which it is. It's the most corrupt country on the planet, except for maybe Washington, D.C., and Tel Aviv, and the Vatican, and the city of London, and every other fucking capital on the planet. Hey, here we are. All right, man, who's up next? Mr. Ooh Man in the background, the moderator-in-chief. Holy shit. It's 5762 Blue Cord Devil. Woo! And Blue Cord Devil does something that I think we've all done, and he continues to do. But it is a $50 super chat with a 762 floater. A 762 floater. So 5762. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. And a nice scotch at the end of the show will seal the deal here. But what he's calling for, Blue Cord Devil, is peace. That's all you and I want, is peace, and to be left alone to live in our peace with our rights intact, our wealth in our control, our lives ours to determine, our health not affected by evil. Yeah, peace. That's my prayers every day, Blue Cord Devil. Damn good scotch. Yeah, peace. That's all I want. He says, peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. That's what we pray for, but I plan and I prep because of evil. Blue Cord Devil says, watch your six, stay calm, stay armed. This Thanksgiving, remember those we lost this year and be thankful for the time you had with them. The last few years, folks, I lost my father and my stepdad. A few years ago, I lost a son to evil. Evil takes lives, folks. Evil takes people's lives. They take them out of our lives and they destroy. That's what evil does. That's what communism does. That's what these Middle Eastern religions that promote death and claim superiority. I don't claim superiority. It doesn't matter whether my IQ is 140 or 94 or whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't get to be superior and kill everyone else and steal their money just because you have the ability, or it's they're fucking evil, often people. I want peace and I pray for peace, but I prepare for what the evil is doing. And the evil is becoming more and more and more transparent. Absolutely transparent. I mean, are you guys aware that trans people are still out there? There's a trans activist named Cassidy Malice. Malice. Literally. 3 names. Cassidy Malice. Cassidy Malice, right? This person has been arrested on a second charge of arson, right? He wants to know when he can start burning churches. That's what he asked. This fruitcake transgender. Well, they don't just want to murder people. They want to burn churches, right? When murder doesn't satisfy your thirst for destruction, add arson to it, right? Democrats, whether they're the trannies or the Black Lives Matter or illegal immigrants from across the border or these fucking Muslims or these countries that just hate us because of their religious beliefs. They're not about peace. They're about domination and death. The Democrat Party is the party of death. It's the absolute party of death. Are you prepared for what they are going to do to us? For what they're going to do to us? Are you prepared? Right? We can't rely on the courts to protect us. In fact, the courts are full of fucking Democrats or constantly pretending that they're the president, right? Antifa has been designated a terror organization, but they're not rounding them up, even though 5 Texas Antifa members have been convicted of terrorism, right? The first time in American history that an American person has been tried for being a terrorist, but there are tens of thousands more who need to be arrested and tried for terrorism. And I think, wouldn't you think that terrorism is a form of treason? Using violence to attack and kill? It's almost like law and order. The concept of it is completely fucking left the government's mindset. And it has. Take England, for example. You cannot pray a Christian prayer on the street. And if you do, you're arrested. There's no injury there. But if you're a Muslim, you can use a fucking bullhorn and scream in people's faces you're going to cut their fucking heads off. And that's perfectly fine. You see, governments have lost their fucking mind. So we have people that are committing acts of terror and we treat it like it's a crime. Oh, you get to go to jail. No, it's fucking treason. Because you're attacking the Constitution. Politicians should be tried for treason when they violate our rights. Knowingly, willingly, intentionally, it's treason. But they're allowed to get away with it. No one's held accountable who should be, and people that aren't committing crimes, like those of us who love bacon. You say the word bacon to a Muslim, and that's a hate crime. Unfucking believable. Chance favors the prepared mind, folks. You need to get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, because it is going to get nasty. And by nasty, I mean really nasty. I want to thank everyone for supporting this. Are we done, Mr. Uman? We got it, everything taken care of? Excellent. Mucho excellent. God bless America. Semper Fi. Support American businesses. Support America first. There is no Make America Great Again, folks. The government in D.C. is showing us they don't give a fuck. You can't make America great again by inviting destruction. It is America first or no way. And that is going to be the next fight in the Republican Party, by the way. Are we going to play this MAGA bullshit game? Or are the MAGA Americans going to realize that was bullshit? And we need to make a demand. Not ask, not vote for, but demand. Stay tuned. Let's see where this leads us. Thank you, one and all. God bless. Semper Fi.